Yo. This is Disrupted Thought. I'm Rashad Harvey. He's Aaron Thompson.
I am.
We're here to talk to you about what's going on in the world, entertainment, politics, religion. We're here to talk about it all. What's good, man?
Hey, man, listen, you told the people on pre-production, if they weren't listening, that this brother has having problems with his eyes. Yes, his opticals, his lenses in which he sees the beauty of God's world. We don't know what this man is doing right now. But hey, call his name out. Normally it's for his spirit because he's disrespectful.
Halfway, take a few steps back.
But we need some healing. So those of y'all that believe in the power of healing, please call out his name.
Hey man, your eyes and your teeth got to be two of the most irritating pains because there's nothing you can do about it. Ain't no Tylenol gonna help. At least with teeth, they got the little oral gel. If you got something with your eyes, literally, you just until you see the doctor, you just naked out here, just waiting until you to get your relief. So hopefully this week I will get my relief, and my eyes can get back better. But with that being said, go ahead and bring it, Sony.
This ain't nothing but healthy conversation. That's
1 hour later.
We still recording?
Yeah.
So you want to you might as well just do comments. Go ahead and do comments again.
Yeah, you just killed all my beautiful introduction. I said
it was
it
a good
nice.
one.
Yeah, I said it nice. Come on, man.
Hey, listen. What babyface tell Jermaine Dupri? You know you great when you can do it again.
Don't listen. Don't try to make it better because you just had a user error. Don't.
You're great if you can do it again.
Always try to finesse this thing.
Jermaine Dupri caught him a number one, and babyface say, "Oh, you got you one." Well, you're great if you could do it again.
You slick, boy. You slick. Now, first of all, I'm good with this. So I don't know if any of this will ever make the airwaves, whether video or audio, because Shad is the producer. We all know this. But as we were getting ready to go in the comment section, we had some technical difficulties. So we're going to do take 2 and see if we can get this right again. All right, here we go. Good people, we are back at it again.
Guys, back at it again.
Back at it. Listen, you're hearing our voices, Aaron Thompson and Rashad Harvey. It is Tuesday. We're dropping another Hot Fire episode. Do us a favor. Don't you be selfish. Give it away to at least 3 people. Tell a neighbor, a friend, an enemy. We don't really care. But listen, we want you to jump on board and let people know. Rate the pod, turn on, subscribe to it. And again, if our lives don't get in the way, we will have pre-production Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Instagram Live. Follow myself at AaronVic810, at Rashad Harvey, at Disrupted Thought. So you know how it goes when we get comments. It's either the comment section or if we get one comment, it's Capri's Corner. So this week, we're back to Capri's Corner. And I want to drop a couple things that some of you all might not know. So here's what Capri says. He says, another great episode, fellas. Really love being able to watch it on YouTube. All right. Now I know some of y'all didn't know we were on YouTube. So you get the audio and the visual. Some of them faces that you see me make. The Shah says I'm making, you actually get a chance to kind of see him now, and understand how much he can vex my spirit at times. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, on to the comment from Capri. He says, my comment on the NBA vax segment. Personally, I do not believe there should be any repercussions for anyone that does not want to vax. The only requirements there should be is the normal health and safety protocols that we've been following from the beginning, especially since the vax does not prevent you from getting the virus or spreading it. Sir, what says you?
Hey man, I want to hear what says you, because if I would have made a statement like that, you'd be, sir, what utopia do you live in?
No,
sir, I wish I could live in your world. Shout out to Capri, man, for saying, listen, I wish people could still make their money and not, get this vaccine, i.e., which at this point is parallel with going to work. We just don't live in a world like that where, people get to take those kind of stances and also make their bread. So I liked his point, though. I mean, what are we doing if a vaccine does not prevent the contraction nor the spread of this thing, but who am I? I ain't Dr. Fauci.
Listen, man. I'm on the record. I'm very consistent. I believe in an individual's right to choose. No, I'm very consistent. You like to move the goalpost to try to prove that I'm not consistent. I'm very consistent. And so, again, I agree with Capri in that regard. It's like, hey, it should be a requirement or something in there that if you choose to go this way about it, hey, then you have that opportunity and you have right to do it. And so, clearly the NBA says, not so much. Well, the NBA says yes, but your local requirements trump what the NBA says. So that's really the bigger issue about the NBA players being vaccinated.
But on top of that, they putting in fines or changes in pay if you do not play.
I don't have no issue with that. I don't have no issue with that. But I also think, as I think Paul Pierce said it in his his Hall of Fame speech. He said, how I knew Doc Rivers was a player's coach is that I was in one of the first practices. I was in practice and I was having a horrible practice. Doc called timeout, pulled me to the sideline and says, hey, Paul, I know you party too much. You're still drunk. Go home and have a great night and come back prepared to play. Right? I think there needs to be some penalty for that. Showing up to work drunk, right? So again, I'm consistent with the behavior that needs to have you be a professional, because you couldn't come in that scenario with Paul Pierce. You can't come to work. Our jobs and be, pissy drunk like that is noticeable, and then not be some fine, repercussion, performance plan, anything else. So again, anything that impairs your performance or doesn't allow for you to be available, I do think we need to look at that. Here's the best thing that, players talk about. Why did Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, before Karl Malone overtook him, why was he the all-time leading scorer in the NBA? Is because his best ability was his availability. He didn't have any major injuries. He was always available to play. Same thing with Karl Malone. So I say all that to say, I get why the NBA is trying to do that. Teach his own, bro.
Yep, I'm with you.
Well, listen, people, do us a favor when you get a chance. Comment. Let us know what you think about the pod. Come on and join us on pre-production, and we'll talk to you then.
This is a sad NBA update. It's really not an NBA update. It's kind of like an NBA topic when you talk about what has taken place. 18 players have been arrested or have warrants out for their arrest. I want to say somewhere around like 14 or 12 of them have already been arrested in regards to a scandal where these said players, as well as a couple family members, would falsify documents regarding healthcare and the cost thereof to what sounds like to be the ringleader, Terrence Williams, right? Who was from Louis? Is that from Louisville, Terrence Williams?
I think so.
Yeah, who was? I want to say he was drafted by the Celtics. He was a top 5 pick. But long story short, he was the ringleader where people would submit paperwork to him, and it would have kickbacks and payouts not only to him but also to the players. They said that over the time of this scheme, they have defrauded the NBA health care department out of $4 million.
Yes, sir.
And Terrence Williams has made a total of $250,000 or something like that. And in my mind, I'm just like, is this over the course of like a month, or that's nothing? Like,
yeah. So you risking getting ready to go to jail.
100%
for $250,000. That ain't even what your check was
bro.
When you was playing.
So I was thinking, as soon as it popped up, I think everybody should be tried if you're doing something wrong. So let's be clear. But obviously, we got the trial for the 2 parents who just paid for their kids to go to, I want to say it was USC, big scandal that popped off maybe a couple years ago. They're under trial. And so I'm thinking about that. I'm like, man, they better get the same kind of slaps on the wrist that these people who was paying for their kids to go to school and defrauding the education system. They better get the same kind of slaps on the wrist, even though I don't want anyone to get slaps on the wrist unless it's justified. But that's a whole different conversation. But I'm like, they better get the same kind of slaps on the wrist until I realize, y'all jokers did this for $250K. These parents was paying $250K for a child to go to a school. Terrence Williams made just $250.
So let's be clear. They're not.
They're not
Okay.
what?
They're not going to get a slap on the wrist. Let's
No,
stop
they're
this.
not. They're not.
Yeah,
They're not.
you went all this pontificating. I want to make sure
Yeah.
that that ain't gonna
They're
happen.
not.
Let's stop this.
You think they're going to do jail time?
Nah, they got good enough lawyers. Still.
Okay. So then they gonna make off like them.
No.
niggas.
They're not about to make off. Now, I don't know about make off like them. Because see, the difference between fraud in the school and frauding the medical community, which goes to the federal government, they don't come on accusations. They come on what they know, bro. And they don't play around with that. So it's gonna be interesting.
Any
to see.
federal indictment is like that, they say. But okay, but hold on. I'm asking you. I just made a statement and you were like, it ain't gonna get off like them. Felicity Huffman, I want to say she did 2 months in jail for she pled guilty. Also, the other lady.
I don't know that she did 2 months. There you go, spicing it up.
I think her and the other lady, they did somewhere between a month and 2 months in jail. I want to say, and someone got like 6 months or something crazy like that. Okay. You think these people are going to face? You think these NBA players are going to face real jail time?
Depending on how bad the penalty is, they listen to me. See, this is how I know you be on some nonsense. I just had to pull it out. 14 days.
For Felicity Huffman?
Yes.
Well, what is someone else within there? Because it was like 15 of them. So I could be wrong on her, but someone within there did get 2 months. And I want to say someone got the max that was given was like around six to 8 months. I ain't sitting here acting like I know. I watched a documentary on it not too long ago. That makes me a professional now, right?
Ooh. You stretching there, boy.
That's funny. But I think they're going to be asked to pay the money back.
Of course.
Do a little community service. They're going to do a little community service. And then they're going to wipe their hands of the situation.
Okay. What we going to say?
When you heard the story, what you think? As someone in the healthcare industry.
This is gonna sound really odd. And I don't say that kids, if there are any kids listening, I'm not saying this as a moral standard or compass to use, but there is some logic in this. I had a director years ago. And he said, I don't understand why people jeopardize their livelihood for peanuts.
Uh-huh.
He said, people who embezzle millions of dollars from companies, he said, that makes sense to me. If you're going to do it, go get some money for it. He said, but don't do it for a couple $100, a tank of gas or some groceries. That doesn't make sense. The cost doesn't make sense for you to risk and reward. And so when you talk about for $250,000,
right?
To me, it's a bigger issue on like what's really going on in y'all life that y'all done so bad with y'all money that y'all willing to take this risk,
right?
That it ain't even worth it. And it's not like you getting this money like $250 a month. You getting this over the 4-year time period or whatever time period it was that y'all got caught.
Shout out to the Texas A&M Aggies. I am currently residing in Texas. Texas A&M is thoroughly represented in this state when you talk about alumni. And they just recently beat Alabama. College football, this is a big deal. What was the score? Wasn't the score something crazy like 47-53 or 51 or something like that?
Oh, no, they weren't playing no defense.
Okay. I would say this was like a high scoring game.
Yeah, it was like a low scoring basketball game.
Jeez, bro. But it came down to a last minute field goal for Texas A&M that obviously went through, and Texas A&M their season is complete at this point. They might as well, the kids can go to class. They might as well go ahead and head in their helmets and they I mean, speak to it, AT though. You know about that. One win, a big win, let alone against a rivalry or a big team in the conference. Oh, your season now is saved no matter how it looks going forward.
So let's be 100% clear.
Basketball's a little different. Football is no.
No. Let's be clear. I don't know if that coach was on the hot seat, but he definitely bought himself some time.
He definitely was.
Listen, that brother's a lot closer to getting that extension after that win Saturday than he was before he started. Let's be 100% clear on that.
Bruh, this guy Nick Saban out here saving careers and making them at the same time. a win over Saban to get you. I wouldn't be surprised if Texas A&M wasn't a huge school already. I wouldn't be surprised that this coach would level up. Go to some of these resumes. His resume, only thing on his resume says, "I beat Alabama."
Hey, that's funny. Now, here's what's interesting. Alabama has one loss. They dropped in the most recent poll to number 5. If Alabama wins out and they play Georgia in the SEC championship game, they go back into the playoffs. See, that's the thing. If you're going to take an L in college football, you got to take it early. You got to take that L early. And they took an L
this is
early.
The first time that they took an early L and still made it. I want to say, what was it, a year or two ago, they took an L early and ended up winning the National Football Championship still.
Yeah, Saban don't care nothing about this. It's just going to be rough for the boys in Alabama.
This week also what took place was a big sports week. Wilder Fury 3. Now, I watched this. Aaron did not watch it. Sounds like he saw some of the highlights, though. Maybe a little bit of the chatter on the Twitter. That's what people Aaron's age say. They call it the Twitter. No. The Facebook.
Yeah, that's what your parents say. I'm not gonna...
So, I watched the fight, and I want to say it went either 10 or 11 rounds. I can't remember what was the last. It went 11. It really wasn't close. It really wasn't close at all. I want to say that once it got to the 11th round, I think the score, Fury was already up by 10 points going into the 11th round. That's a blowout in boxing. On the scorecard, when you're up 10 points going into the 11th round, that is a blowout in boxing. It wasn't close. The only thing, there was this particular round where Wilder dropped Tyson Fury twice. And he did. But let's be clear, not before Wilder was dropped twice. So Wilder got dropped twice in like the 3rd round or something like that. And then at that point, he was fighting to save his life. So that next round, because he got bailed out by a ring, literally by the end of the round, he started throwing some haymakers, and they caught him. He's a dangerous puncher. So he caught him twice. He fell, got a little motivation, got a little pumped up, but you could tell, man, Wilder was not. It's crazy, man, when you go and you watch these boxing matches and you see opponents and they don't look in shape. Now, Wilder, specimen. This guy is cut beyond measure, but his cardio looked terrible. They say he added like 15 to 20 pounds for the fight, which I know it affects the name. I mean, it affects things, as well as I don't want to be a play games. When your adrenaline is pumping, 30 seconds is a long time. When you're like, that's a long time, but they're supposed to be trained for this, and he doesn't look like he has proper pace yet. Still a very dangerous puncher, just not a good boxer.
Yeah, so it was interesting enough. I'm sure it was interesting to try to keep his cardio right, because the more he got in shape, I'm sure the harder it was for him to keep the weight on.
100%.
And he was trying to put weight on because Fury is so much heavier than him, so he was leaning on him. And then when Fury would hit him, that little skinny body couldn't take all them blows. He was putting that thing on him. But let's be clear. I saw it in the first fight. I watched the second one. I said, they're not getting no money out of me for the third one. Tyson Fury's a better boxer. I've never been a Deontay Wilder fan. I just have always thought that he was some hood dude that found a way, to make something of himself as a fighter, not a boxer. He's not a boxer. But that Tyson Fury, he's a boxer, bro. Like he knows how to boom, boom, hit you, frustrate you, be elusive. They now they're talking about him and Joshua gonna fight. I was sold on Joshua till he got knocked out by that bum. I was like, Tyson Fury gonna fool around and beat him too.
Oh, Joshua took another L.
That's what I'm saying. What are we talking about Anthony Joshua for? Please.
Yeah, we're not. We're no longer talking about Anthony Joshua. Only reason they talk about Anthony Joshua is because it's a bag. Because it would be money.
Yeah, it's gonna be money. Yeah, Anthony Joshua. Yeah. He the dude at he the chick at the club that's real nice. She look real good, but she ain't got no conversation. That's him. Like he's a physical specimen. But that dude get knocked out now. Man, please get out of here.
Yeah. And he is more of it looks to be that they would be more in the same weight class between him and Fury, but man, Fury's just a good boxer. And I was rooting for Deontay Wilder. I want that first Deontay's first like round or 2 rounds, he won. He looked good. He was attacking the body and he was consistent, but man, after that second round, you could just tell dude was getting gassed. And it just at that point downhill.
The one thing if you watch Tyson Fury fight, and again, I didn't see this fight, I saw the first 2. Tyson Fury knows how to frustrate you with that jab. Like he is gonna pop, he gonna pop you, then he gonna hold you. If Deontay Wilder really understood how to box with his reach, man, that dude had dudes frustrated. But he's always trying to set you up for the right. He's always trying to set you up for the hook and the heavy blow. And a good boxer can always see that coming.
People was in a little bit of a frenzy this week, AT. What was it, like a couple hours IG and Facebook went down?
No, it wasn't just a couple hours.
How long was it?
That thing was down probably a good 4 or 5 hours. It was down for most of the work day that day.
It's not a couple hours?
No, not for people who that's what they livelihood is. No, that's
right.
not a couple hours.
So listen, I went on IG and it wasn't working. I'm like, man, what's going on? So you get out the app, you scroll up. I'm telling you right now, for anybody who undownloaded and downloaded the app, you got a problem. And you need to go see somebody. Aaron, did you do that? Don't lie.
I did not.
Did you? Okay. I'm talking to this camera. For anybody during that 4 hours who downloaded or who undownloaded and downloaded that app or those apps, because it was WhatsApp, Facebook, and IG, you got a problem. You need to go see help. I just waited it out. I was like, okay, maybe something's going on. I ain't gonna hold you up. I went to the Twitter, and then I realized, oh, okay, there's outages going on. Let me actually go live my life. let me go live, man. The memes on Twitter during that time period. Oh, Twitter had its most volume it's had all year. Those 4 hours. Did you go on Twitter?
Did I go on Twitter? I actually no. Somebody sent me a text message and said, yeah, Facebook and IG are down. They're reporting it on CNN. I was like, dang, it's amazing. CNN?
Wait, hold on. What? This is Secret Society? What kind of chat is this? Is this a stock chat or something? Because who gets text messages saying, "Hey, Facebook is down. Let's go ahead and add this to the portfolio"? Is that what that conversation was?
No.
Who gets text messages saying Facebook is down? I feel like this is a bigger deal now that you're receiving.
Lord.
So when we're having global catastrophes economically, you get text messages.
Where does he get this from?
Oil tankers out in the middle of nowhere go catch on fire. He get a text message. Hey, oil tankers down and the Gulf of Mexico is out. Buy up now. Is that what that looked like? Hey, listen, I'm in.
I'm really trying to figure out what just happened here. I'm like, what? How did he take my text message and go all the way over there? Like, yo, I'm so confused right now. I don't know how to respond. Like,
that was
any rebuttal I give right now is just going to continue to add more fuel to his fire, and he has enough right now. We need this fire to burn out.
Hey, man, just go ahead and add me to that group chat, bro. Oh, come on, man. I need extra funds. I got a daughter.
Jesus, bless the name of the Lord.
I have not seen this yet, but it was all the rave this week. I'm just saying all of Aaron's old terms. It was all of the rave this week. Dave Chappelle, he dropped another stand-up via Netflix. Hey, let's talk about it. He got a real good thing going with Netflix, don't he?
He does.
I mean, we don't even know when some of these joints is even dropping. They're like Beyonce albums.
Listen, here's one thing you gotta understand about Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle, when he came back, he left $50 million on the table and came back and got a bigger bag. Okay.
Yep. He is demolishing this stand-up game right now, just with the content, on top of just the strategy and how these things are released, what he's done during the pandemic. He's Dave Chappelle, man. I'm going to watch it. I just haven't had the time yet. He's killing the game. I guess, was there a specific conversation that he was having that caused a little bit of a riff?
What was there? What?
I gotta check it. I gotta. So what did you think of it? So since you saw it, what did you think of it?
So what we need to really do is you're gonna have to go watch it.
I am, to
have a real conversation next week about it.
Okay, let's do it.
You better go watch it quick because it might not be up, because the transgender community is up in arms right now. And if
rightfully so.
Oh, they're rightfully so.
Okay.
Rightfully so. I mean, okay. Now again, depending on what side of the joke you're on, some people might not have found it funny, but when you listen to it, he does make some points. I'm not going to tell any of the jokes because some people, listen, Dave Chappelle can get away with it. I cannot. So, right. But yeah, I would say he was true to being himself as Dave Chappelle. He doubled down on a couple of things to explain himself on who he is and what he's not. And even in that explanation, it ruffled some people the wrong way. And I would definitely say what he said was problematic, but I get it.
So on top of that, what we're saying is he didn't help towards people's mental health awareness day this week.
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
Okay. Like no. There. Now here's what's interesting, and I just saw this on Instagram. Is I think it's the Black Justice Coalition, some coalition I've never heard of, that many African Americans actually haven't heard of, but they're asking for Netflix to pull it down. Like, you need to not be in business with Dave Chappelle. You need to pull it down. His comments are this, his comments are that, and we just think, and part of their push is, transgender deaths, murders, and assaults are very high, and the community that is even higher in is the African American community.
Was his jokes based on the deaths?
They were not. He actually told a very vulnerable story, actually about a transgender friend of his.
So then that's kind of unfair, right? For him to, and I didn't see it, but I feel like one of the common things is people will joke about. When I say joke, I mean from an entertainment comedy standpoint, they'll joke about the LGBTQ community, the trans community, and I feel like whenever someone jumps back at them, they often quote, a lot of the difficulties that community has had, not only mentally but also physically. When you talk about some of the injustices that has taken place to them, you feel like that's fair to always jump, or often? Let me not use the word always. To often jump to that extreme once something of comedy or content has dropped regarding that community.
Again, it's problematic, right? You always have to look at it from the perspective of, what did we as Black folks in America feel when white comics were doing blackface and were, cracking racist jokes? We didn't like it. We were outraged, and we felt like people need to stop. And so when you're not part of the community, right, and you're speaking, whether it be true or not, based on current events, stereotypes, or information you've got from those that are in your circle that might be in a community that you're technically not a part of, it becomes problematic. It's just, again, I can talk about people in my family, but you can't. Right? Me, as much as me and Shad banter on this, y'all be careful on what y'all say crazy to him, because that's my man's, right? It's like there's protocol, right? There's levels to this. I can say it, but you can't. You can say it, but I can't. Even if you take our wives, like, they could be on our nerves, but if somebody start going crazy about our wives, like, hey, hold on, wait a minute, back up, hold on, back up. You don't have the right to say that. So I do think it's problematic, but it's interesting on how they're gonna play this thing out. Because again, when you put Dave Chappelle on, when it comes to his content, Dave Chappelle gonna say the stuff to make you uncomfortable. Him and Chris Rock are the ones that are gonna say stuff to make you very uncomfortable, and that's what you come to see him. Oh, and by the way, he did the stand up in Detroit.
Oh, you know what venue?
I think it was at the Fillmore.
Oh, shout out to that. So you put on the docket for us to discuss mental health awareness, and on that you asked me, is it real?
No, I asked you, was the day real? Because you don't like to celebrate the days. You are the anti-day person. So I'm like, is mental health awareness day real, Shad, or is this another Happy Donuts Day to you?
I think before I actually thought about it, I was about to be egregious. No, it's real. I think days like that, breast cancer awareness, Mother's Day, Father's Day, even though, and Mother's Day and Father's Day to me is more for fun than it is as real as, like, I would say breast cancer awareness, mental health awareness. There's also, there's all kinds of days, for those who have lost who have lost infants, all things like that. I think those days are important because one of the things that we as a community need to be more is educated on some of the issues that our friends and family are going through. And it's nothing like a day like that can bring it to your forefront. Now, Women's Day, I don't need that. Happy Donut Day.
Rashad said he don't need Women's Day.
Hey, listen, Men's Day. If there
ain't no Men's Day. Ain't no Men's Day unless you're in a black church. Ain't no Men's Day unless you're in a black church. Let's stop this.
I don't need none of them days, but some of these days, especially ones like mental health awareness, I appreciate. Especially when you think about the how far we have come from just the early 2000s to where we're at now in the development of this conversation on mental health. It's a big deal. We've made leaps and strides, and I hope we continue to. So
what makes a day worth it to you? Do you have a criteria, or you just arbitrarily just say, I don't like this one, I like that one? What
first and foremost, everything with me is arbitrary. So everything is arbitrary, you know what I'm saying?
It has no credibility. I'm glad you just put that out there. You have no credibility.
So what gives something credence is its necessity, right? So give you prime example, mental health awareness. Mental health awareness day was something that was implemented a while ago, but that was before it had the traction that it has now. So I believe it played a role, whether you believe big or small, in this traction. We've got other days, breast cancer awareness, that a lot of sports now celebrate. That had at one point started, and now it's caught traction to where people are now donating on this specific day lump sums of money to help towards the research, all types of things dealing with cancers. And so for me, it's got to be towards something that I really believe needs, and that's the arbitrary aspect of it. It's something that I believe really needs awareness. When it comes to Women's Day or Donut Day, I don't need awareness of these things because, thankfully, specifically, not to be funny, because I shouldn't associate Women's Day and Donuts Day together. Women's Day, women get the opportunity, thankfully, in this country, to speak a lot about their femininity, about some of their challenges, about some of their successes, and it's a everyday thing. I don't believe that a Women's Day aided in that, because if I remember correctly, this Women's Day is a new thing. They have been already marching towards, equality as well, not only in thought, but also in controls of their own bodies for some time. So that's kind of like more of the deeper dive into it. And then, come on, man. Do I got to talk about Donuts Day? Do I got to talk about Cloche Day, 7-Eleven Day? Do we mismatch sock day? Come on, man. I'm trying to get your money.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, the egregiousness and the thoughts and views of Rashad Harvey are of his and him only. They do not reflect myself or the other partners and members of Disrupted Thought. As you listen to him, if you feel the need to DM him, flog him, or say something crazy to him,
flog.
He loves all the smoke. Please feel free to reach out to him at Rashad Harvey on Instagram.
I don't check it. Hey, listen, Aaron also threw on here this week, which I didn't know about. I'm kind of glad you threw it on here for the docket, which was Tina Turner. Tina Turner, she sounds like, and I'm real clear on sounds like, because it sounds like she sold her rights. What you say for a bag of potato chips and a bottle of hot sauce?
Woo! This man don't
It
think
sounds
the price tag
like
was worth it.
So supposedly she got $50 million to sell her likeness and her catalog to BMG, which is a publishing group. I mean, when you just talk about rolling, big wheels keep on turning, right? Mary, like, when you talk about that,
probably not hers.
But I'm sure she got a cut from it though.
No, that was what I.
Okay, so then let's go. When you talk about what's love got to do with it?
Okay, there you go. Now you her stuff. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, but what's love got to do is probably her biggest record ever, outside of maybe that record with Ike. These got to be her top, within her top 3 records. And what's love got to do with it is in it. What is it called when people are able to make their movie or their music work within syncing into? It's called syncing, right? Into TV shows and movies, and there's a term that they use where people make records, and sometimes they make records specifically to sync onto TV shows, movies, and commercials. And so when you talk about what's love got to do with it, I mean, movies and TV shows, that thing is crazy. It's everywhere. You always hear it. So to me, that alone is worth more than 50 million. That record alone. And we ain't talking about if somebody decides to sample and things like that. 50 million, man, is very low. And I hope what it is she might have sold a piece. Now, what we've been hearing a lot, Rodney Jerkins did it, The Dream did it. I don't want to throw this other person's name in there, but someone else really big. I'm not sure if it was, but I think Teddy Riley. They sold a portion of their catalog to a third party company. I don't even think it was a publishing company, just a third party company that for a term period of for a span of some time, quite some time, they will be able to push and reap the benefits of these records that they have produced or written or sung. Excuse me, being in mainstream, movies, TV, all that kind of stuff. So if she sold a portion for 50 million, all right. But all of it for 50 million? No way. No way. And she got kids? No way. Does she like her kids? If she like her kids. Hey, we gotta talk about it, right?
Hey, yo, this man says, do she like her kids?
50 million, bro. That's what you think about it when you saw this.
So I'm always the dude that I'm never trying to give up what's mine, right? But also I do understand that she is black, her kids are black, and depending on where they from, we don't always handle the transition of our parents well. And so maybe selling it for $50 million makes it easier moving forward, that hey, you can drop that money into a trust, a portion of it in the trust, it generates interest, this is how it pays out, so you ain't gotta worry, well, we own this song here, we own this licensing over here, and we own it, and we so it could have been out of that. But she recently in the documentary said that for her, and as long as her career has been, she just don't feel like it's been worth it. All the stuff she's been through, all the records she's sold, she don't feel like it's been worth it. And so since she doesn't feel like it's been worth it, she'd be like, y'all gonna pay me that's cool. Y'all gonna get up out of here. I can take care of my family when I'm gone and keep it pushing. So.
But let's talk, because I like that perspective, right? We don't, people die, and unfortunately a lot of people end up fighting over it. I ain't gonna hold you up. Whoever is in control of the Marvin Gaye estate, they need to be on everybody's contact list for a conversation.
Listen, that is the family. The family of Marvin Gaye, they are gangsters.
They need to be running these other artists who don't know how to get their family together after these people die. They need to be running a consultant group or something, because they get it together. To me, man, No, you don't want family and friends arguing over money once someone dies. A catalog like Tina Turner's, y'all jokers gonna be arguing. Cause I ain't selling this for 50 million. But G, I listen, y'all can hate me now or y'all can hate me in heaven. One or the other. But let's be clear, y'all go fight. And y'all better get it together because my catalog is worth way more than $50 million, bro. Like that to me.
Yeah, no, no. Let me be clear.
I'd rather y'all figure out what y'all need to figure out than just bow out like that. But one thing I appreciate you saying, and I am very big on that. People's traumas, people's frustrations, whatever. And Tina Turner is on record has gone through a lot. So 100%, that's her decision to make. I pray it was a good one and it works out for her family, man. But just looking as a commentator, man, or a spectator, excuse me, $50 million, Tina. Come on, man.
Hey, I mean, when you look at the other folks, I just pulled it up. Other people who got money, you know, you look at Bob Dylan, you know, 400 million. You know, Neil Young, 150 million for only selling half of his catalog. Then you got the others, people like the Dave Crosby's, and you know, some of them are just saying, hey, they want to get out the game because they don't really understand this streaming piece, right? And it's, you know, and that's just really frustrating them, and they, you know, they just want to retire and just kind of keep it pushing, and hopefully they built in some sense of a royalty that they get 50 million up front, you know, in Tina Turner's case, and then there's some royalty built in for some space, because if they start marketing that thing and understand the machine in which they're navigating right now, you know, again, Tina Turner is 81 years old, you know, so when you just talk about the business, how much has changed since she been in this thing, and it's at over 60 years. Yeah, bro, she like, well, y'all can have it. I'm cool.
I was doing my homework for this topic a little bit because I heard about it, and I didn't really look into it. But Sage Steele, she is a commentator for ESPN, who recently was the thought was she was suspended or she was on some type of disciplinary. Y'all know what I'm talking about. She got in trouble. People thought she got in trouble. So some action was taken suit in order to suspend or discipline her. And it sounds like that might not be the issue. Looks like she might have caught COVID, even though she got the vaccine. And so she's got to step away for some time to get a negative result. But anywho, that happened at the same time she did an interview with Jay Cutler. And on Jay Cutler, she said some things, and AT, I wanna throw. It's three specific things she said that I want to get your take on.
What did she say?
Yeah, specific.
Okay, it sounds like you went real black and went Pacific. I didn't hear that S. I got you. Okay.
Oh, okay. Hey man,
carry on. Keep going.
I ain't gonna lie to you and tell you it can't happen a couple times now, folk. Now, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say. No, you know what? I was watching Cam Newton, right? I like Cam. I love what Cam is doing. He's doing a lot of content, and he did a sit down with his father. And bruh went all the way Georgia with it, bruh. I'm sitting here looking. I'm like, oh, we can switch it up like this. We are capable of talking one way. Dude went totally another way with it, and it kind of was funny to me. But it really reminded me of, you know, some of these European actors like Idris, or my man's who from Get Out, or you know, a bunch of these English speaking black actors, but when they come over here and do some of these American roles, that all of that accent is gone. That's a talent, bro. But anywho, Sage Steele, she went on Jay Cutler and she spoke about three specific things, and let's go over it. One of the things she said, Steele said she was fascinated that he identified as black. We're talking about Barack Obama. When filling out, the census. If they make you choose a race, what are you going to put? Cutler says. Well, both, Steele said. Barack Obama chose black, and he's biracial. Congratulations to the president. That's his thing. I think that's fascinating, considering his black dad is nowhere to be found, but his white mom and grandma raised him. But okay, you do you. I'm going to do me.
I thought she was 100% tripping,
Yeah.
straight bugging. I'm like, what point were you trying to make? Like, were you high? Like, come on, Sage, you smarter than that. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I thought that was foul. I thought that was foul. I you know me, you know, I this is a topic that I don't mind, you know, ruffling feathers or being honest. But yeah, that was just foul, because I don't even understand what, and maybe I need to listen to the whole pod to understand what context that matters at all. And you know, we get caught in the weeds on what other people do, and if Barack identifies as a black man, you know, instead of a white man. And the crazy thing too is on the freaking census, it's not even an option. They don't even give you an option to choose biracial. Like, I'm like, why can't he just choose black and it not offend? I was just as lost as you was. But let's continue. One of the other things that Sage Steele says, Steele also spoke out against vaccine mandates, calling them sick and scary, while acknowledging that she had complied with ESPN's vaccine mandate. I respect everyone's decision, I really do. But to mandate it is sick, Steele said. And it's scary to me in many ways, but I have a job that I love, and frankly, a job that I need. But again, I love it. I'm not surprised it got to this point, especially with Disney and a global company. Joe Biden recently just went on, I want to say he did 2 this week. So he really on a roll. But there was a big conversation about the economic collapse. So he was in the press a lot. But one of the things they spoke about, or that he pushed a lot, was the desire for these companies to push these mandates. I'm assuming he may not have, even though he sounds like he's been pleased with some of the response, he's not all the way pleased with some of the response. And so he talked about, you know, these mandates and asking companies, saying it's within their right to be able to do that. And you know, me and you, Aaron, we've spoken on this a multitude of times. Do you see companies not filing suit, right? Like we spoke about, like, oh, companies are going to do it, and if they do it, then people are going to get it, unless people decide to quit. But do you see companies holding out until they get that OSHA or, you know, real mandate from a financial standpoint where they get fined and things like that?
No, I don't think you got, I mean, maybe where you at, you know, some Texas-based companies, you know, because they all about, you know, fighting and freedom and everything else that they may hold out. But again, if you don't need the government's money, you don't have to worry about that. If people are saying like, hey, I can navigate on my own and my business isn't based on those contracts, I have a right to choose and govern myself accordingly. So I think, you know, again, we live in a society where we're copycats. So a lot of corporations, most of the corporations are going to follow suit. Again, think about it. I always go back to think about last year. Everybody was okay with kind of figuring out what the pandemic looked like until the NBA shut their season down. When the NBA shut their season down, then all of a sudden the dominoes started dropping. Everybody started shutting stuff down. So do this part for the course, man.
Hey, it's going around that you know, Joe has one of the lowest approval ratings in a very, very long time. The economic or the debt ceiling was recently passed. And he's been having issues, you know, for those who go to the grocery store or you go get your gas, you feeling it. And then obviously this response to the pandemic, a lot of companies still haven't recovered labor wise, a lot of now hirings. And then one of the conversations I was having with someone this week, they was just like, man, what happened with the student loans? You know, he ran on the student loans. And I'm like, you must be new here. Yeah, I was like, oh, you're new. You're the new guy at school. You must be new here. Bro, you ain't gonna be getting that, bro. You better, did you save your bread? because come January, they're gonna be asking for it again. Because they're not, I would, which, you know, disappointing in and of itself, but that was probably one of his biggest talking points, was the whole student loan situation, as well as the CARES Act, you know, volume 2 or whatever, giving people checks and this and that and the third. So anywho, let's get back to Sage Steele. Last but not least, Steele also criticized how some women work in sports dress, saying when you dress like that, I'm not saying you deserve the gross comments, but you know what you're doing when you put that outfit on too. Aaron, what you got to say about that?
It's problematic. It's like Dave Chappelle's Netflix comments. It's problematic, right? And it's problematic in the regards of you're saying to a woman that if that's how she feels, that she wants to express herself, that that's not okay. And in some aspects, you're saying she deserves these people speaking to her like this. It's problematic, because again, she is correct. If we living in a world that we live in, people do treat you different based on how you're dressed. Those are 100% facts. That's for both men and women. That's black, white, young, old, the whole deal. Right? They do treat you different based on how you're dressed, how you appear, whether you got a beard, you got braids, you got locks, you clean cut, so you got a suit on versus you got jogging pants and a hoodie on. Like people do treat you different based on how you dress. That is a known fact. But as a woman to make that statement, it's just like, ooh, does the oppressed become the oppressor with that statement? And I think it stings because there are some people that dress like that to move them ahead and aren't taken serious. But if you look at somebody like a Doris Burke, you look at somebody like a Jackie McCallum, that those are serious women reporters and journalists that held themselves to a different standard to be taken very seriously. Like if you look at what's her name, Joy, who's on with Colin Cowherd, Joy Taylor. She dresses cute, but she also dresses appropriate because she knows her brother was in the NFL, right? Her brother's in the NFL. She's been around it her whole career, so she's understanding as a young millennial how to keep it fly, but also still to be respected. And I do think, Sage could have, because I saw that comment too. I'm like, he could have worded that a little different, but maybe she just like, I don't care.
But I mean, here's the thing, right? We spoke about it earlier about the LGBTQ community. Sage Steele is a part of the women's journalist community, right? So she's speaking about a community she's a part of.
That's true.
So it's like, why can't she speak as someone who has been marginalized as a black woman? I don't care if she's biracial or not, however she identifies. She's a black woman, or people see a black woman. How about I say that? Excuse me, Sage. People see a black woman when they see her, as well as the facts that, she's in sports as a woman. So she's the marginalized. So my thing is, why can't, she say it? Why can't she be problematic? There are people who are a part of, once again, the LGBTQ community who say plenty of things on interviews and radio that if we was to say would be like, no, you don't get to use that term. You don't get to speak like that, which is fine. But same thing we do as black men when it comes to other people, certain words that we don't want to hear used, but we use with each other. So it's like, what do you say to that as Sage saying, well, Aaron, I'm a part of that community, so why can't I speak to it?
Yeah, I mean, again, she can speak to it, right? She's part of the community. She's part of the. My issue is this: I always feel that if you're part of the community, i.e., black folks, women, LGBTQA communities, athletes, teammates. If you got an issue with a person and you're in the community, let's have the conversation behind closed doors. Let's not air our dirty laundry.
So let me add. Jamel Hill, she went on Dan Le Batard and she said Sage does do that. She says Sage, I guess ESPN has some type of ESPN Women's Festival or function that they do every year when Jamel was there, and Sage would always be a panelist or a highlight, and she would communicate her thoughts, because that was the other thing she said. She says anyone who's in ESPN is not surprised by these things that Sage is saying, because she says it all the time around the office.
So again, part of the culture of ESPN. Mm-hmm. Does ESPN want her making what she does as part of their culture and accept it publicly? Because now, it becomes problematic. Right? So, again, I think they're honest comments. I think there's a lot of validity and truth to her comments. But do I think the timing of them were right and wise to say them on Jay Cutler's podcast, which that's also problematic. It's Jay Cutler. All right.
Well, she ended up obviously issuing an apology not too far after and expressed like, this was probably not the best time to be speaking on some of the things that I spoke about, thinking about what we've all gone through this past year and what we're still going through, and some of the controversy that my comments have brought to the forefront. So sounds like
no. Here's all that was. That was Sage. You like this check you getting? I'm gonna need you to issue this apology.
Yeah, somebody for sure brought it to her attention.
Yeah, it's like, hey, ma'am, let's talk to you for a second.
Right.
Let's have a seat. We just want you to listen to something. And they played. Is this on brand for us?
Not is this on brand. Hey, this guy here. Hey, man, let me part of them text messages, man. Once you start saying, is this on brand, bro? Let me into the group chat, bro. Golly. Listen, people, this is Disrupted Thought. I'm Rashad Harvey. He's Aaron Thompson. We talk about it all.
Good people. Let me say this before I close it up. If there was a group text message with all the egregiousness that Rashad says, he would never get in it. But we're in the Disrupted Thought. Good people, you heard the voice of Aaron Thompson and Rashad Harvey. We just dropped another hot fire episode. Please tell a neighbor or a friend, like it, subscribe to it, comment on it, give it away. Don't be selfish. But listen, follow us at AaronVic810, at Rashad Harvey, and at Disrupted Thought on Instagram. If our lives do not get in the way, next Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, come join us, be part of the pre-production. We would love to hear you. Until next time, we out of here.